Hey, welcome back to Nosco Unpacked, the channel all about flexible packaging. I'm Steve Kruger, product manager here at Nosco for FlexPack, and I'm joined with Phil Harrison, co-owner of Dura-Pack, one of Nosco's valued customers. Today we're going to talk to you about greenwashing. Hey Phil, thanks so much for joining us again and being with us today. I think today we're going to talk about greenwashing, which I think is probably one of your favorite topics, right?
Yeah, this is actually one of my favorite topics. I'm so happy to be here and talk about it today.
Excellent, thank you. So what is greenwashing?
Yeah, so in general, greenwashing is like a clever marketing trick where a brand or a company is trying to promote the fact that they're environmentally friendly, et cetera, but it's really kind of smoke and mirrors. Behind the scenes, they're not really. In the flexible packaging space, we see this a lot where people will use, for example, like craft paper packaging. Because it looks like it's natural and it's green, but it's still laminated to all these other materials with glues and everything else. So really it's just like every other piece of packaging from an environmental standpoint. You see this a lot in compostable packaging where people will claim compostable, but really it's industrial compostable, which means if you try to compost it at home in your backyard, it's still going to sit there forever. If it ends up in a landfill, it's not any more green, but to the consumer it looks like it is green.
Sure.
Yeah, so in a nutshell, that's greenwashing.
That makes sense. You mentioned some of the greenwashing packages that we may see out in the marketplace today. But as we strive to be more sustainable in kind of our everyday lives, both from a business perspective and as well as our own personal journeys, flexible packaging has a lot of benefits within the market. Can you talk to us a little bit about why flexible packaging is just innately considered a more sustainable or green process than maybe some of their counterparts?
Yeah, and this is a good point because a lot of people go to the film and everything else, but in packaging, we've always used rigid containers forever, like glass jars are hundreds of years old,
Sure.
right? So just by going flexible, it's like what I've heard you say all the time, it's less waste in the first place, right? Just
Yep.
from a material standpoint, that's huge. And then even if you look at shipping, so flexible packaging is cool because it ships flat. And so one truckload of flexible packages is equivalent to 15 to 25 glass or plastic jars.
Truckloads.
Yeah, truckloads, right? And so that alone is a huge savings when you look at fossil fuels and everything else.
Sure.
That's a huge inherent benefit.
Right. Oh yeah, absolutely. That makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, and another cool thing is that the barrier technologies in flexible packaging is so advanced that you tend to get better shelf life, food tends to last longer, and so you actually end up with less food waste too.
Oh, okay. That's an area I frankly haven't considered a whole heck of a lot, just in my day-to-day engagement, but that's a really interesting dynamic as well.
For sure.
You said something that really resonated with me, which was going to the film itself, right? We talk about sustainability and we want to go to the film rather than talking about maybe the process, right? Why is it so difficult to get that true sustainable factor associated with a particular film option?
Yeah, and this is a really good question, and we get this all the time. And if you think about, the ideal package will just break down, right? You could litter and it just disappears. But in order for something to naturally disappear, it has to basically break down in the presence of like air, moisture, things like that.
Right.
And if you look at what the package has to do, it's to protect the product inside of it from air and moisture and UV, right? So having something protect the product from it, but break down in these elements, now we can all understand the challenge, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So it's really finding that big mix or that balance between protection enough and then breaking down for future state.
You got it. Yep. So Steve, because it's so difficult to protect the product from all these elements and have it break down, this is why we really focused on this recyclable solution.
Sure.
Because it's pretty much the only solution that is not greenwashing. It does protect the product, and the cool thing is it's actually fully recyclable.
Got it. That would be like this example here that we've got your Ecotech line and Nosco's mono material line, right?
Exactly.
So we've got barrier properties associated with these films to protect product, and can be in-store drop off for that recyclable waste.
Yeah, keep it all landfill, right?
Yep, that's right. So Phil, thanks so much for giving us the explanation on the recyclable pouches. And for our viewers, if you're interested in a little bit more information and details on our recyclable pouches, recyclable pouch materials, you can check back to one of our earlier videos where we covered exactly that, recycle ready and recyclable mono material pouches. For additional resources on this topic, go ahead and check the description below. Phil, looking forward to our next discussion on equipment automation. For our viewers, thanks for joining us today. This is Nosco Unpacked, flexible packaging made easy. Go ahead and click the like and subscribe button below, and we'll see you next time.